Hey, thanks for joining us here today. My name is Tom Bartholomew from Bartholomew Media Group, and joining me today is a great guest that we're going to get to know and find out how her business will help you in the roofing industry. And she'll probably give us some great tips on improving your social media and other things, but let's get to it. Aviva, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
So yeah, my name's Aviva Fustachenko. I am the CEO of AVF Solutions Group. We focus primarily on social media and roofing management for contractors in the roofing industry. We're about 5 years old now, and we love it. We love helping people do what we do.
That's great. Awesome. And what drew you to working with roofers or the construction trades?
Yeah. So when we started the business, originally we were looking to help small businesses on Main Street, and it became very apparent very quickly that the business owners in the contracting world were the ones that not only needed the most guidance in social media, but also didn't have the bandwidth and were getting the most bang for their buck in the social media world, because a lot of referrals and a lot of conversations around who to hire has transferred from just talking to your neighbor and has completely moved to those Facebook groups. So we realized really quickly that those industries and people sitting in that particular industry were doing very well on social media. So helping them gain traction and figure out what to do is where we sort of discovered made the most sense for us.
Awesome. That's a great way to find an ideal customer. And when you say you help them, how do you help them? Like what
Sure.
kind of services do you provide?
So we offer a full range of services on social media, but what we find works the best is organic reach. So what we do on a monthly basis is we create content that goes out to their business page on a subscription service. We make sure it goes to all four of their pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course the Golden Goose, which is Google My Business. It's our generation's version of Yellow Pages, right? So we want to make sure that your digital footprint reaches everything. And then from there, we coach you to expand your reach. So I call it like moving your artwork out of your living room and out onto the superhighway. So you could have the best content ever, but if it's just sitting on your business page, nobody gets to see it. So we spend the next 6 months coaching our clients as to how to move that content from their business page out into the world and how to take advantage of the referrals that are in those social groups. So the first month is really just creating that first round of content, getting to know you, making sure your brand is specific. Not all roofers are the same, so we want to make sure that we're talking about you and what you do specifically. Then we start posting content. In month 2, we teach you how to start inviting people to your page, what that looks like, how much time and effort you should be putting into each one of the platforms, depending on your range of services. And then in month 3, we dig a little bit deeper. We talk about sharing content, how to join groups, which groups make the most sense. And then we have different stages based on where you are in your business and where we go from there. But yeah, they see within 4 to 5 months almost an immediate growth, and their phone starts ringing and everybody's happy.
But it does take 4 to 5 months.
Oh
Can you tell
yeah,
me
at least.
more about that? Like why? Like I'm not going to get results right away. Like tell me
Oh, I
why
love it.
that
I would
is.
love a magic button. Wouldn't we all love that magic button?
Yes.
The minute I start doing something, it's the equivalent of, let's call it a gym membership, right? We are in January. Everybody I know has made that resolution to start going to the gym. And there's nothing more frustrating than spending in that first hour doing something. I'm doing my sit-ups, I'm on the treadmill, I'm doing all this workout. I go home and I step on the scale, and sometimes I've gained a pound. You're like, what the hell? It's not what I signed up for. But similar to marketing, when you make a plan and you're doing something on a regular basis, you don't start seeing results unless you have consistency. So going to the gym once isn't going to do anything for you. Going to the gym twice isn't going to do anything for you, but it's that consistency of showing up every day and putting the work in. That's when you'll see results. And in marketing, it's exactly the same thing. So just turning on a Facebook page isn't going to help you much. Starting an SEO project, even building a website, like, right? We all need a website. We all need a place to show our clients what it is that we do and how we function, and sometimes even our pricing. But if you're not driving traffic to the website, sometimes you're driving the wrong traffic to the website, and it takes tweaking and it takes figuring out who your target market is before you start seeing results. So don't get frustrated. It's all that consistency. And we keep that in mind when we're talking to people about what it is that we do. Sometimes we slowly ramp up so that it doesn't become, we don't turn all of the services on until about month 4 or 5 or 6, because we know that you want to see some growth before we start adding in the review management, before we start pairing up with other companies that offer a full range of motion. So when you are working or looking to hook up with a digital marketing agency, you want to make sure that they aren't just hyper focused in one area. So when you hook up with someone like Tom, he knows that when he's setting up your website and then he's starting your SEO, how to turn different parts of your digital marketing on to get you what you need as the months move forward. So
No,
I
I think
hope
that's
that's a good explanation.
no, I think that's great. I love it that, you don't expect to see gains when you go to the gym in one day. I mean,
No,
you'd like it, but that's not going to happen. So it takes time. Just like marketing, like you were
yeah,
talking about. It takes, whether it's search engine optimization or social media management, whatever it is, it's going to take some time. I always
yeah,
like to equate it to investing. When you invest in the stock market, you're not going to get returns tomorrow. You don't expect that. You expect to
no.
get returns in a year or 2 years or 10 years. Not that it's going to take SEO that long, but that's the same. It's going to take time.
Right. I mean, listen, I think it's the equivalent in any business, even in the roofing industry, right? You don't show up to my house and quote me and I wake up the next morning and there's a roof on my house. You got to get product. I got to pick the color I might want. Does it match my siding? Now, all of a sudden I might want to get new siding that goes with my roof. There's a whole lot that goes into any time you have a company coming in and making changes. But if anyone knows of a magic button, I'd love to find one.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. If you find it, share with me. I'll share with you as well, so that where
Absolutely.
you can just get instant results.
Yeah,
Well,
one that works for the gym as well, because I hate going, but I
well,
go.
I think that in order to get immediate type results, you have to go to paid ads, whether it
Yeah.
be social paid ads or Google paid ads or whatever the
Yeah.
case is. You got to pay for them if you want those
And
immediately.
even then, you could end up with, spam in those, or you might not realize that the keywords you chose mean something different in different parts of the world. So then you end up with people coming and clicking on your ad thinking that they're going to get one thing, but really another. So even those need to be tweaked.
Yeah,
Negative keywords are important, right, Tom, when you're talking about, paid
absolutely.
ads. So even then, yeah, I might see a sudden influx in my inbox, but they might not be who I want to see. So even then, I would say, it takes time to
It
get
does.
the wheels working exactly how you want them to work. But
It
yes, it
takes
definitely doesn't take 4 to 5 months. That should take a little bit less.
Yeah,
But
I typically tell people, because I'm a Google certified partner for running ads, and I typically tell people that it's going to take a full 2 months before we really see the needle move. Unless they have a huge budget, it's going to take that much to
yeah,
gather data, to digest it, to figure out, for even Google or the ad platform, to figure out who you're trying to target.
yeah,
Like you said, when you're adding
absolutely.
in those negative keywords, that's what really optimizes it over time.
And
Yeah,
then
great.
sometimes you realize that you don't even need to go for the bigger client. You can tweak your keywords for the smaller client that turns into bigger work, and that might end up being a better funnel for you. So nothing is as easy as just turning it on. So I hope all of you out there watching, take a breath. No, as long as you find the right partners who understand how to do all of the intricacies that are involved in getting you from point A to point B, that you're in good hands. Anybody who promises you anything different, you should probably start looking around.
Yeah, I agree with that. That guarantees and promises, because I hear potential clients tell me that all the time. They'll tell me that this marketing, we'll just call them marketing agency A, said they guarantee X amount of leads. Well, I always tell them, I say, well, I can't guarantee them, so I guess you should go with
You
them.
should
What
go
what
with
do you,
them for sure.
is that? What's your thoughts on
The
guarantees?
same, absolutely. I mean, especially around social media, it's more about branding. I watched an unbelievable episode of, I think it's called Mind Masters or Brain Games,
Oh
about
yes.
4 years ago, that really talked about what branding does and the importance of branding in business. And it's this idea of having an easy retrievable message so that when somebody thinks about redoing their roof, they immediately think of you. How easy it is it for them to come up with who you are and what you do. So I love using Target as an example because I unfortunately go to Target all the time. But they make it super simple, right? Anytime I need anything, they've become the super convenience store. I think of their commercials now don't even necessarily say Target on it. They've done a very good job branding their business and their message around the music they use, around the clothing, obviously, because they have their own clothing brand. But that red target is sort of surreptitiously placed all around their ads. So you know what you're looking for immediately. Do I need a couch right now, or do I need a plant, a fake plant? No, I don't, although I would love one. But I know that when I'm looking to do something in my home, we're going to target to get that done. So it's the same thing when you think about your social media presence. The likelihood that somebody's going to come across your ad at the exact same time that they happen to be needing a roof is slim to none, unless you're doing paid ads, right? But on the organic side, it's slim. So the hope and the purpose of your social media campaign is to brand your message and brand your business into people's minds so that it's easily retrievable when the time comes. That's why consistency is key. You post one time, you post 2 times, great. I've already forgot about you. I've moved on to the next company that's doing a better job with their consistency. So it's all about branding. And when a client calls and asks for immediate result, that's pretty much what I talk to them about. It's not about the immediate grab. It's about the long-term gain and about getting the referrals from people who use you, and they start talking about you on Facebook the way that they would, at a neighborhood gathering. So making that happen is more important than getting the immediate grab. Organic growth, in my opinion, is super strong and way stickier than spending a couple $100s in 1 month and hoping it gets out there. You might have gotten a couple clients, but then it stops. So
No, I think those are all great points. You had mentioned about branding on social media, and that's kind of what it's for. Can you give our viewers, the audience, can you give them maybe some tips on how they could brand? I mean, obviously they should hire
they should
you.
call me,
In
right?
fact,
And
I
I'll just do
hire
it
you a
for
lot of
you.
times for some of my customers because I think you do such a great job. But what would be some tips that you could give that a roofer could implement into their own, other than consistency? You gave us that already, that they need to be
Right.
consistent.
So one, I would put a system in place to start taking pictures. And a lot of you guys are doing that already, right? Because you have your before pictures, your after pictures. Take it a step further and take the during pictures and find a place on your computer or on your phone to start storing pictures. That's the first thing that you guys should all be doing. Because as a homeowner, and as the primary spender in my house, what I'm looking at when I'm on social media is I want to see the finished product. I want to know what my house could look like. You don't necessarily need pricing on there. As you all know, from house to house, it could be a very different price. It could also be different based on the time of the year when you have to go purchase supplies. So you don't need pricing, but what you do need is a consistent brand. So you have a logo, or is it just your business name? You need a logo, you need a color scheme, you need something so that when I'm scrolling on my Instagram feed or I'm scrolling through LinkedIn and I come across an ad, I'm calling it an ad because they're all ads, but it could be an infographic, it can be a video, it can be whatever it is. I need to instantly see who I'm looking at. So if you're just posting pictures or you're posting even reels, that doesn't really do you much good. You got to take it that step further and stamp it with your personality, stamp it with a color, stamp it with Canva is an excellent tool and it's free. You can grab 5, 6, 7 templates on Canva and just rotate images through those templates to give you a look and feel so that when you're coming across people's pages, they're going, oh my gosh, I know this guy. That's that roofer down the street from me. I see his yard signs everywhere, right? You want them to make that immediate connection without having to read. It needs to be visual. So think about how you can visually separate yourself from, the guy next door who's just posting pictures of him up on a roof. That would be my quick tip.
No, I think that's great. And I think that just to have a system for photographs is a huge tip in itself. Because I don't know how many times I start working with a roofing company and they've been around for a while and maybe even have a presence online. And I go, okay, well, can you send me, here's a folder in my Google Docs. Can you, maybe put some photos in there? And they always say, oh, I don't have a lot of photos. I got some old ones or something like that. So I think that's one of the biggest problems I run into is getting actual their job site photos from contractors.
And what's interesting is, listen, you could hire a branding photographer to come out and do it for you, but the temperature has changed around that in the social media world. It's more about user generated content. So it's not even necessarily you posting the picture of your guys up on the roof, but maybe asking the person whose home you're fixing or the business to take a picture of you at the end and be like, hey, would you mind posting a happy something? Because the user generated content is actually weighted higher in the social media hierarchy of what gets seen or what gets posted. So don't just take your own pictures, but ask your clients to take pictures and to share them too. You'd be surprised how much more that actually gives you traction. And ask your employees. I mean, a lot of times they're on the job more than you. Incentivize them, do something to get these pictures. And because you guys are in the roofing industry, I'm gonna just put this out there. If you got somebody up on the roof, you want to make sure that they're following any OSHA policy or any safety policy visually, because once we post that onto social media, it's open to anybody to come in and kind of be like, hey, your guy wasn't wearing orange when he was up that high, or how come he's not tethered? Like all those safety rules and regulations that you need to be following in order to keep your license. Make sure that when you're posting pictures, you're following all of those safety regulations. So just, I'm going to throw that out there. Just be smart about it. But yeah, pictures, 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 figure it out. Folders, like before and after pictures, team member pictures are always big. If you had someone on your crew who's been with you for 20 years and you're taking them out for dinner as a congratulatory, get a picture of your team working together. Ever since COVID, consumers want to hire small businesses. They're more into that than they are hiring the big conglomerates. They really want to put back into the community. So showing that you have a crew and a team that you treat like family, that you're a small business owner yourself, it actually gives you a leg up. So take advantage of those pictures.
No, I think that's great. I found that I like to tell them that if you're taking a picture of a crew member or your team, you should tag them in the
Yeah.
post because then they'll share it. They're like, "Oh, look what I'm on my company profile." They're proud of that, so tag
And
them.
their friends and family are going to be like, oh my God, I saw you on Facebook today. And then they're going to share it. So yeah,
Absolutely.
no, it's a huge user generated is huge. You got to get as much interaction from your team as possible.
Now, you've
So
said that a couple times, user generated content. Can you maybe explain that a little bit more for maybe somebody that
sure.
doesn't know?
Um, So I'm going to go to a restaurant. I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but most of
Okay.
you can connect to this, I think, a little bit better. If I'm taking my family out to dinner and I'm going to a local restaurant and I get a selfie with the chef, or I'm loving this linguine that was put in front of me and I just take a picture of it. I know, everyone likes to take pictures of their food or their coffee or whatever it might be. And I post that picture of my linguine and I say, had a lovely dinner at Fire and Cork today, and I tag the business. That's user generated content. I don't work for the restaurant. I'm not posting it to the restaurant's page. I'm posting it to mine. But tagging the business is more powerful than me posting to the business page. So incentivizing your clients, incentivizing your employees to be doing stuff and tagging your business, that's what user generated content is. And Facebook rewards you with more views on content like that. So take advantage of all the free stuff that Facebook and Instagram wants to do for you. And LinkedIn right now is really pushing also. So all of that user generated stuff is super important to figure out a system in which you can do that as well.
Awesome. Well, great. I love that that example you gave of the restaurant. You obviously don't work at the restaurant. You don't work for them. You
Right.
go in, you take a picture of their stuff, and you tag them. Well, you were the user, and you generated that content for them.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yep.
I
And
think that.
now my 1,000 friends on Facebook saw that I had dinner at Fire and Cork and they're going, oh my gosh, I want to try that. And then they're going to go. So I'm
Right.
not a paid review, right? So all my friends know no one paid me to put that up there.
Hmm.
And it's a more trusted piece of content sometimes than some of the other stuff that ends up out there for you.
No, I think
Harder to
that's
generate, right?
yes.
Because you're counting on other people. But again, creating incentives for your team, even just having like when you're done with the project, asking the homeowner or asking the client to take a picture of themselves in front of your yard sign. If they take a selfie in front of the yard sign and share it out, you let them know, hey, listen, that would be really, really great if you did that for me. And be surprised. I mean, listen, social media is the way of the world, right?
Mhm.
The average American spends 3.5 hours in social media a day. So are we taking advantage of that time or not? And
That's
that's how
amazing.
I would,
3.5 hours a
I
day.
know. And as we get younger, that time goes up too. So like, I think
Ah.
Once you drop below the age of 30, it goes to 4 hours. And once you drop under 20, I think it goes to 5.5. It's sad,
Yeah, I
but
think that if you're 12, then it's up to 10.
probably,
Yeah.
probably.
I have a
Yeah.
12-year-old, so
Yeah,
that's
no,
great.
they're on all the time.
I I think that's great. User generated content. I don't think a lot of people even think about user generated content as a strategy. So there's different ways,
I
like you
think it's
said.
because it's hard to manage, right? I mean, it's
Mm,
something you don't think about. Listen, you're a business owner like I am, and we're big on planning and setting goals. Uh, as any business owners, your marketing should be just as scheduled out as every other aspect of your business. So you should have a calendar, whether it be a one pager that has all 12 months on it, or a physical calendar, and you should be writing in there what you think your clients need to be seeing each month. I mean, we're in January. Are you doing new roofs right now, or are you going to be focusing on repair from storms? What does that look like based on your area? Like I live in the Northeast, so all of my roofers right now, their social media content is going to be focused on storm repair, emergency contact, 24-hour service, all the things that they offer. They're not able to do a whole lot of new roof jobs right now. They can plan for April. So then some of their content in February is going to be built around, hey, get your roof on the calendar now for maybe a discount before we get super busy. You don't want to wait to do your roof in August. We're booked. I can't talk to you now until next year. So really think about what aspects of your marketing or your business needs to be pushed each month and plan it out on a calendar. That way, when you're talking to your agencies and you're talking to your social media manager and your SEO guy and your Google paid ads guy, like whoever is managing all these aspects, the more information you give them about when your business does well in which area, the stronger your campaigns are. So plan it.
absolutely. I think that's a great thing. And a lot of people they plan a lot of things. I think business owners plan a lot of things, but they don't always plan their marketing or their social media. And if that's something that seems like it's beyond your reach or something you don't think you can do, get a hold of Aviva or myself. We can definitely help you with that. Filling out a content calendar is
For
really
sure.
what
You keep
what
your hard hat on and we'll take your marketing hat right off for you.
that's correct. That's what we do. Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. So you talked about consistency a couple times. Tell us about consistency and what would be some good recommendations. How often?
Sure. So when it comes to your industry, posting several times a day is way too much and unnecessary. And it's a lot of work. And so I'm all about working smarter, not harder. I would say the minimum you should be posting is 3 times a week. That's a very strong, consistent amount of time that people should be seeing your stuff online. Unfortunately, you could have 500 people follow your page. You're going to be posting 3 times a day. Those 500 people aren't going to be seeing your 3 posts. It's just not how it works. So when you're thinking about over posting, only I want to say it's 13% of the people who are on your page are actually seeing your content. So don't be scared to post the 3. I promise you, you're not going to turn people off. You could go to 5. There's nothing wrong with 5. You can go to 7. But for those of us who have other jobs, right, it's very hard to create a consistency like that. So 3 times a week is perfectly fine. You're even allowed to say every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Fine. I promise you that's not going to get boring. And then again, make sure that your logo is on everything. Make sure there's a call to action on everything. So that's the call now to schedule your free estimate. That's a click here to fill out your contact form or whatever it might be, but don't post just to post. So don't just put a post up there that says, oh, it's beautiful weather, and post it. If you're going to post something about the weather, it's beautiful weather for roofing, or it's beautiful weather to go up there and take a look and see how much damage you had through the winter. Um, Something about, hey, it's been, really rainy. Do you have a lot of mold, on your roof? Don't just post something for the sake of it. Make sure everything you post is somehow wrapped back into your business. At the very least, wrapped into your community. If you do community service activities, anything like that, post it. But make sure you slap your logo on there. Or at the very least, you're wearing your shirt that has your logo on it. Don't waste it. So call to action, make sure it's branded 3 times a week
Or more.
or
Nice.
more. Minimum 3 times a week.
I like that. That's great. So This has all been really good information. I'm sure that our audience is getting some good tips. Hopefully they've been taking notes. What would be something when somebody thinks about hiring a social media manager, someone like yourself, what should they consider when making that decision?
It's a really good question, Tom. They should be thinking about what it is they're looking to get out of that relationship. Definitely find somebody that has a system in place so that balls don't get dropped. Just like anything else, like I like working with people who have systems that are repeatable. Um, I would not work with somebody who's using the same content for you as they are for somebody else. So you want to make sure that the content you're getting is yours. And I don't mean just branded for you, because there's a couple of social media companies out there that will take, let's say, roofers, and they've got maybe 200 pieces of content for roofers. And all they do is they slap your logo on that piece of content. So you could be scrolling through Facebook and I can see a picture of a house with this great, you know, roof on it with your logo on it. And then a couple scrolls down, I see another roofer with the exact same picture, just with their logo on it. So I'd stay away from that. That's not really worth the money. Nor is it worth your time, because obviously it's not specific to you. You can end up with content that has nothing to do with your business. So stay away from those types of industries. You want somebody who's creating content that you own. So that way, in case the relationship ends, I'm not suddenly going to remove all the content from your page. You own it. I'd say the same thing about websites too. Like, make sure that whoever you're working with, you own the website, not the website developer. Um, Tom, you've seen those, right? That's terrible. I feel terrible whenever that happens.
I I don't understand that. No, I want to touch on that for just a second because I think you touched on a huge point, and it's maybe not even related to what we're talking about, but it's really important
I
that
agree.
when you work with somebody, social media, website, a person, you need to make sure you know who owns the copyrights of all the finished work. And when you go to, you said domain, I run into people and they go, they've had some designer created their website, bought their domain for them, was really helpful, but now they're almost holding them hostage. They're holding it for
Yeah.
ransom. They say, "Oh, well, you pay me this X amount, whatever that is, and I'll give you your stuff."
Or better yet, you end up with companies that wrap everything into one, right? So you come across this great company and they're super inexpensive. You're spending 600 bucks a month and you've got your website, your SEO, your social media, everything done for you. And then you start to realize that it's not really what you thought it was. 3 years down the road, you go to switch companies and they own everything. You can't even transfer it. So now all the work you've done on your SEO for that website is lost, because you have to now get a brand new domain. You have to build a brand new website, and you're basically starting from scratch because you thought you were getting this great deal. I'd be very wary of, I'm going to go with the bigger box companies that just, that are, it makes it, if it's too good to be true, I guarantee you that's exactly what it is. It's too good. It's just too good. Um, Not owning your website, I think, is detrimental to a business owner. You don't realize it up front. But if you try to switch anything or go anywhere, or just, let's say you're in a position where you suddenly just don't need someone to manage it anymore and you just want to have your website up, it's terrible.
It
And
is.
I come across it more often than I wish I would. So
Me too.
definitely you want to own everything. Read
I
the
think this.
contracts.
I
Read your
agree.
contracts.
This is a huge problem in our industry, and I almost think it's kind of shady business that these marketers are using, where they're owning like a domain name. You should go buy your own domain name, your URL, your whatever it is .com. You
Yeah.
should buy that. You're a designer. When you work with me, I'm going to tell you, go buy your own and then just give me
We'll walk you
access.
through it if you're having difficulty,
I'll
or,
help you.
Zoom is amazing now. I can take over your mouse and literally do it for you, and it'd
That's
be
right.
your information on there. But I honestly think it's probably one of the most terrible things. It's interesting too, because this wraps back into your business, Tom, with, SEO and Google Ads and all that. I am a firm believer that you should not be doing any form of paid advertising if you're not doing the organic stuff first, because the minute you turn off the organic, I'm sorry, the minute you turn off the paid, nothing's happening. So and that's why I like working with you, because I know that you do this the right way. When you're building packages and you're working with a marketer, I don't care who you hire, you got to make sure that they're doing the SEO first, and then you start doing your paid. It's the equivalent of renting a car versus owning a car, or renting an apartment. Better yet, renting an apartment versus owning your home, right? So you're renting the apartment. It could be gorgeous and beautiful, but at the end of the day, the minute you stop renting, they kick you out. So all those keywords you put in, whether it be best roofer in Yorktown, if that was a paid keyword, you've lost it. It's no longer attached to your website. So you want to make sure that you're doing the grunt work first and then capitalizing on it with the paid ads, because then you own those keywords and they don't go away. Organic is so important for your business. I know you guys all want the fast, quick, oh, if I just pay a couple $100 a month, I'll start getting leads. Yeah, you will. But then what happens when you turn that off? You want to make sure the leads keep coming. So organic, SEO, like all of those things are super important. And then turn on the other stuff. I'm not saying it works. It definitely works, but you need to create the full gamut. Again, I'm going to go back to the gym. It's like going to the gym every day, coming home and eating a box of donuts. Does absolutely nothing for you. So
Probably not good.
right. It's not good. I mean, it's delicious, but it's not good.
That's right.
So that's another thing. Make sure you're working with a marketer who understands how these layers all work together and they're integrated. I'm sure you get that all the time, right, Tom? Someone calls you and it's like, oh, I don't really want you to manage my website. Just build it. Okay, well, what's going to happen next? Like who's going to make sure people can find your website?
Well, I actually changed my whole agency around because that was happening to me. I'd build that's what I did in the beginning. You know, I've been running it for about 4 years now, and I would build a website and they'd be all good and they'd host it with me or with someone else, whatever. I don't really, that's fine. But they would come back to me saying, hey, you built me this website, but it's not working. And I go, oh, did it break? You know, do you want me to update it? They're like, well, no, I'm not getting any leads. And then I realized that it's not like the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they won't come.
Right.
You have to do stuff. You have to do SEO and create content and be consistent on social media and and do all these things that are going to help you move the needle. And that's why I switched around to doing that. Absolutely.
And even consistency in SEO. I mean, you come across the same thing. I'm sure people ask all the time, why am I paying for this monthly? Well, because I'm constantly updating your SEO, right, Tom? It's not any agency that says, oh, we're going to do your SEO one time. That's not the same kind of SEO that we're talking about. And that's why you hire a professional, because even I'm in this world. I don't touch SEO with a 10-foot pole. I don't really know exactly how to make things happen the right way. And I rather pass it off to the professionals that do, because it is intricate. It involves so many moving parts. I'm going to pass that on to you, but
yeah, SEO is definitely tricky. There's a lot to it. There are things that you can do one time, but they're not going to move the needle like you would hope. You know, you can optimize your site, but really it's creating content. Google wants good, helpful, useful, human-centered content. That's what they want, and they want it. Yeah. They say that it doesn't matter how much content you have, that they're just trying to find the best, but that's how you get the best, is by producing a lot of it. Because every piece of content you create isn't going to be the best. But if you create enough of it, you're going to have pieces that are the best.
And then it's specific too. Like you got to be, it all goes back to those keywords, so to post content just for the sake of it defeats the purpose. You want to make sure that content is rich in the keywords that you are hoping people are using to find your site. It's so intricate that, as I said, I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But I understand the importance of making sure it's there and it's being done all the time. Because Google wants to make sure you're relevant. So they're going to push you up to the top if they see that you're engaging and you're doing stuff on your business on a regular basis. They reward you for being busy.
I think you are absolutely correct. And I go by that same idea, is that, you need to be consistent, not just social media, but on your website, creating content and whatever it is that you're doing for these marketing. I know that you also, so you do social media, but you also do other things. And one of those is reputation management.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why would a roofer need reputation management?
Again, it's that word of mouth, right? So, and it's the reason we took it on. When you have somebody that says, oh my gosh, I just used ABC Roofer, And they were so great. They cleaned up after themselves and, now my roof's not leaking anymore and it looks amazing. And they even told me that if something happens, they'll come back and fix it. Like, I'm just so happy. Am I going to call ABC Roofer? Am I going to call some random guy that I don't know anything about, but he might be a little cheaper, right? I'm going to call the ABC Roofer because one, I know he came back. I know that one of the biggest jokes in the industry is, what's the fastest way to get a contractor to stop harassing you? And it's to sign a contract, right? So knowing that, I know it's true though. So knowing that I'm working with a contractor that's going to come back, that's going to come back and do a great job, that's going to come back and leave the site clean, that's going to come back and if something happens, I already know that who I'm hiring. So using reviews as a marketing tool is probably one of the smartest things you can do. And one of the biggest pushbacks I get, Tom, and I'm sure you get this too, is, oh no, what happens if I get a bad review? Like I'm terrified of a bad review. I get that, except a bad review is a service opportunity handed to you on a silver platter, right? That everybody gets to see now how you handle something that went wrong. We're all human in every industry you're in. I don't care what business you own, you're human. We're going to make mistakes. Whatever it might be. I expect people to screw up. It's just, that's what makes us human. But it's how you handle that mistake is what separates you from another industry. So good. I hope you get a negative review. And I hope that, well, I'll tell you because with my reputation tool, I get alerted on every review that comes in. So if something comes in under 4 stars, I call you anyway. And then we help you respond to that negative review because I'm not emotionally attached to the business like you are. So I'm able to sort of pull back and help you generate a beautiful response to the customer who might not be so happy. We dealt with this a couple weeks ago. We had a client who got a negative review because he didn't show up to the job. And I was like, that's not like you. What do you mean to show up to the job? And he was like, actually, they kept rescheduling and then it rained. And then they would reschedule and then it would rain. And I was like, okay, well, we can't say that because then that makes the customer look terrible. And we came up with a response that was like, we're really sorry that we weren't able to get to your property, when you would have liked us to get there. Unfortunately, the rain has been terrible, but the next beautiful day we have, I promise we'll be there at 9 a.m. And then the customer response was, that's great. And then they ended up getting the job anyway, but at least that way it's on Google, right? Because it's a Google review. Everybody who comes across that page, when they see that something didn't happen, they're seeing that the owner cared enough to respond on Google and that the owner took care of it. Sometimes you can't take care of it, and that's okay too, but it's really how you respond. Are you getting nasty? A he said, she said? Is it well, you're terrible, you never paid your invoice? Like, how you respond to that negative review could actually help get you more business. So don't be afraid of those. We're here to help you deal with it. And there's no better referral source than a happy customer. So use them, use them, use them, use them. And then we share your positive reviews all over social media too. So everybody gets to see how much everybody loves you.
Nice. I think that's smart. I always like to post when a review comes in for myself or one of my customers. Yeah. I always like to post it onto social. That's always a good way to get that out. So you were talking about, having negative reviews. A couple is okay, as long as
couple is okay.
Yep. And I've actually read some statistics on people actually trust a profile more, a company more, if they have below a 5-star rating.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because in today's digital world, I mean, all over the holidays, all I was seeing was how can you make money leaving reviews on Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Amazon apparently has an affiliate program now that you can get paid for leaving reviews. So, I mean, I know people who say to me, I've gotten both. I've gotten a customer who says, hey, can I just get, 30 reviews? Can I just pay for them? My response is always no, we don't do that. Nor does it help you. Because you can tell, people can tell when a review has been AI generated. It's obscene to have, 365 5 stars. It doesn't even make sense to me that that would be appropriate. So when you do see that, it's again, instinct goes, something's not quite right. You don't want that either. So don't be afraid of the negative reviews. Sometimes it can also help you weed out the employees that aren't doing great. So when you're looking at these reviews and you've got somebody that's now done the same thing to 3 separate clients, you're going, maybe I need to talk to this person a little bit deeper. Maybe this goes past the, oh, well, the customer told me they didn't want that. And well, now you've heard it 3 times. So sometimes it's also a training tool. It could be a customer service tool. It could be, you know what, this is the 4th time somebody's mentioned they wished we offered this product. Maybe we should look into, you know, building the business and doing decks as well, or whatever it might be. So don't be afraid of reviews. It's, I believe, the most powerful tool in my marketing toolbox is review management. And because it has all these APIs that connect directly into Google and Facebook and everything, it also helps with your SEO. So it's one more way to increase your search engine optimization. So if you're going to be doing reviews, I would make your life easier and look at a software that can help you all that automation, help you automate that process in terms of asking for reviews, not automate an AI process of gaining reviews. There's a difference. But I'm big on software. Find yourself an agency that has software that they're licensed to sell, because it's going to help with your SEO footprint. And that's really what you're looking for, right? Is how do we drive traffic to my website so my phone starts ringing?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, is getting that phone to ring. No, you had some great points in there. And what platform do you because there are a lot of places you can get reviews.
All right.
I mean, and even in different industries and whatnot. Where do you recommend that businesses direct people to get reviews? All of them?
No, not all of them. There's a ton out there, so I'll let you kind of do your own research, or you can call Tom or myself and we could kind of set you up with the ones that we use. The ones I would stay away from are the ones that are putting reviews on your website. And I don't mean also on your website. I mean only on your website. Because if you're getting reviews or customer testimonials, and they're only going to your website, that's not helping you. You want to make sure that whatever review software you're using is generating Google reviews. And then for roofers specifically, in case we captured any realtors or any mortgage brokers, you want to find one that does Google and Zillow. So make sure that if you're looking at a review software, it's not only Google. You know, people use other search engines. I think they're crazy, but they do. They use Bing and they use Yelp and they use Yahoo and all those different places. So make sure that you're using a software that gathers from all over the internet, all the reviews you have, and that can generate reviews to the places that are going to be powerful for you. And the worst thing is if it's a review software that's only posting to your website. That's an absolute waste of your money. Do not do that. If it's also posting to your website, okay, great. But if it's only posting to your website, it's a waste and it's not helping you.
What would you say is you mentioned Google? Would that be your go-to to direct people?
I would say that for this particular industry, all my contractors, Google's gold.
It is.
I
agree.
It just is. It's gold. I know that there's all these other ones out there that they're pushing. I saw a couple commercials during the Super Bowl last year that were pushing a very different search engine that was all about, I guess, not having cookies in it, like no ads or something. But I don't know what happened to it because I haven't seen it since. But Google's where it's at. I mean, that's where most of your marketing companies are focusing their time on SEO. That's where you are. You know, so think about that too. Like if you're a consumer as well as a business owner, and think about where you go to look for business. You might not use Facebook, but I guarantee you the homeowners are on Facebook. They just are. But think about where you go. If you need a plumber, what are you doing? Are you on Google looking for a plumber, or do you go to Yelp? I would stay away from Yelp I would just stay away from it. They're very difficult to work with, and they tend to, if you're not paying Yelp, then they're going to promote your negative reviews, where Google doesn't do that. Google automatically promotes your latest reviews. If it happens to be a negative one, that is what it is. But Yelp, if you're not paying them, they're purposely going to push your negative reviews, which I think is ugly. And you guys aren't restaurants anyway. So, I mean, I'm only really on Yelp if I'm looking for restaurants. So there's really no need for you guys to do that. I'd focus on Google, especially if you guys are busy and got stuff going on. Like, just everything should be about how searchable and Googleable you are. And again, work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. Now, In order to get reviews on Google, you have to have a Google business profile, formerly Google My Business, formerly Google Plus. I mean, it's
Yeah.
changed a lot of times. Currently, it's Google Business Profile. So you need to have one of those if you don't have one, and that's where you should direct them to.
It's free
And it's
also.
free. What do
It's
you
free.
know?
You don't have to pay
Yeah,
for it.
that's right.
It's super easy to set up. It walks you right through it. But if you need help, call Tom.
And
He'll
it's
help
one of
you.
the best things you can use for local search engine marketing because when somebody is in your area, a city or an area that you list on your Google business page, if it's in proximity, then you might show up in that map pack, which
Yeah.
is mostly 3, but sometimes they experiment with 4 or different things. But that map pack, when you start scrolling and you do a search for a local business and you see the map with 3 listings there, that's the map pack. In order to get in that, you have to have a Google business profile.
It is our generation's version of Yellow Pages. So to not have, and you had to pay for that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can have a Yellow Page listing, which is your Google business profile, and it's free. So to not do it is silly, and it takes 5 minutes. You could actually go to Google and look up how to do my Google business profile, and it will walk you through it step by step. So do not pay someone to set this up for you. Take the 5 minutes. I promise you, you can do it.
That is correct.
Or ask your neighbor's kid. Anyone over the age of 14 should be able to get this up and running for you. I promise.
I offered in my programs at no additional cost. If you don't have one, I'm going to build it for you.
I do the same thing, and I do that across all platforms. So if
Yep.
you sign up with me, or if I'm working with Tom, we will automatically build those pages for you because we
Absolutely.
believe that strongly how necessary they are, that they just will build them as part of your package.
Now I heard you talk. We're on Google Business Profile. You talked about scheduling or posting on there
Dude,
as well. You like to post a Google Business Profile? And
I
tell me a
do.
little bit about that. Why we
You
should
have
use
to
it.
change it up a little bit. They have rules, and as always, they're always messing around with their API connections. So you got to change things up. So at the moment, you're not allowed to have any links or phone numbers in the text. You can have it on the image, but not on the text. I don't use it as a tool for people, like no one's scrolling through to see what I'm posting. But this goes back to SEO again. So anything that we can do for your business that's SEO related. So the digital footprint right now, or the social media footprint, includes your Google business profile page.
Mhm.
So when we're creating your content that goes to your Facebook page, as I mentioned, nothing's a garbage post. Everything's very specific and intentional. And the keywords that your SEO person is using gets translated to us, and we put it into the text, or we call it the subheadline, for all of your social postings. So when we're posting it to your Google business profile, the text adds to your SEO. So let's say you guys are really focusing right now on emergency repair for roofers, right? So all of the text for this month is all going to have in there emergency repair available, storm damage, all of those keywords are going to be in the text that goes either above or below the image based on what platform you're in, but that gets uploaded into your Google profile, and it just helps your organic keywords, and it helps people like Tom out in terms of getting you listed in that 4-pack of that map. So everything we do is to increase your SEO. How searchable are you on Google? It's relatively new, actually. I don't remember when this started, but when I started my business, it wasn't there.
Yeah, you
So
didn't used
it's
to be able. You used to be able to put like maybe some announcements or
load
something, but they didn't
images,
always
right?
have posts. Yeah.
The other thing that they changed, for those of you who are taking advantage of Google Business Profile's website, so like if you didn't have a website and you had a Google business page, they were automatically building you a website. I think I showed you, one of my clients did this, and I was like, what is happening? You're like, oh no, that's a Google business website. They got rid of it. I think like at the end of the month, if your website is Google Business Profile made, it's coming down.
Their business,
Um,
you're correct. They're discontinuing their old free website, not the Google Business Profile, but their actual website in
yeah.
March. It's going to be March 1st or something like that they're going to do away with those, and they're going to forward all of the traffic to your business profile.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I saw my first one last month. I've
Oh,
never
wow.
even seen somebody do this before.
Hmm.
And because we use websites as a way to, gather data and gather content for their social media. So we know, again, not every roofer is the same. So I make zero assumptions when we bring a new client on. And we went to their website to get information. I was like, this is this is terrible. How is this a website? Like, I don't understand. Like it looked like something a middle school student like just threw together. It was really odd. And I was talking to Tom, and Tom was like, that's because it's not a website. It's not like it was done through Wix or done through what's the program that we like a lot? Why am I blanking? The website.
WordPress.
Thank you. It's not WordPress. It's like Google, basically what they do, or they did, because they're stopping, is they took whatever information you put in the Google profile, built a website out of it.
That's correct.
Which has zero information other than your pictures and how to contact you. Their contact form didn't work. There was no information about like, oh, you do generators, which like it was so interesting. And it's because they're just taking your business profile page and blowing it up into a website. I thought it was interesting, but
That's correct.
it's going
One
away.
thing that did work on there is when you would get reviews, it would show up on that website. And
Yep.
when you posted, like we're talking about putting posts on there, it would also update on that website. But yes, it's going away, so we won't put a lot of time and effort into talking about it. Just know that
But
if you have one of
every
those,
website developer you have should be able to put widgets in place that do the exact same things. So like the review management software that we use, we give that API directly over to Tom so that he can put the reviews on the website, either as a tab or as a slideshow on the bottom or a widget, whatever makes him happy. But we provide the API so that it not just gets seen on the website, but again, it helps traffic. So yeah.
No, that's great. I think
all about the widgets.
Yes, automation, widgets, anything to make our lives easier. That is for
sure.
Well, yeah, I appreciate all this great information that you have provided us today. Great tips. And yeah, hopefully it will help someone out there, even if it just helps one business to get some better ideas for their social media and reputation management. And if you feel like it's too much for you to handle, make sure to reach out to Aviva and AVF Solutions Group. Aviva, how can they get a hold of you?
That's a great question. You go to my Facebook page or Instagram or LinkedIn at AVF Solutions, and you can find me there. Or you can reach out to Tom. Tom and I work directly together on multiple clients to help them do and manage their full social footprint. So either way is great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And with that, thank you guys for hanging out with us for the last 45 or more minutes and this great information. Let us know how you liked it down below. Leave a comment. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Aviva, for coming out and sharing some time with us.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for having me.